Hello.
Hello yourself.
How are you? Well, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for jumping on this call. My intention today is just to have a nice conversations, ask you a few questions about the process of selling your home,
Okay.
and just share your experience. So let's start with who you are. What's your name? What city did we sell the home from? And also what year?
Okay. So my name is Caril Horse Jones. You sold my home. I was living in Hollis, New York at the time, which is also sometimes called Jamaica. Um, and what else did you ask me?
And what year was that?
Okay,
Yeah.
it was December of 2019. Yes.
December 2000. Yeah,
Yeah.
2019. So that
That's
was right before COVID hit, right?
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
hmm Well, it was a good thing, right? That at that time we were almost getting done with the sale, and then COVID hit right after.
Right.
And if you don't mind me asking, Mrs. Jones, what was the main reason you were selling the home back then?
Well, I was getting divorced, and that was a part of the divorce agreement to sell the home. You know,
hmm
um, I had another realtor prior to meeting you who I really didn't vibe with at all. I mean, like, not at all. It
Oh.
was a really, really bad experience, but I couldn't wait for that contract to run out. Because when you called me, I don't know, it was just something different about us vibing together. So it was a good fit. And yeah, so I decided to go with you. And I got to tell you that my ex was really against it because there was someone else that had approached him and he really wanted to go with him, but he wasn't the one that was going to be in contact with the salesperson all the time. I was. So
hmm
I had to definitely have somebody that I could get along with and that I could work with since I was
Of
going to be the
course.
point person. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that is very important. So we
Extremely.
connected via phone. The first time we had a conversation, I connected with you as well.
Yes, yes,
The good thing
yeah.
about making these phone calls is you get to choose who you want to work with,
Well,
and you
see,
were very nice
well, no,
and
no,
very
here's,
polite.
well, not at first, because you called me and I was like, I had gotten, I don't know, maybe like 15, 20 phone calls. Oh, you're selling your house, blah, blah, blah. But it was just annoying. And when you called, I was like, oh God, here's another one. I really don't feel like dealing with this. But you were very patient and you were very nice, even though I was being very, harsh and critical at first. But I was like, this sounds like a really nice person and you sounded sincere. So I was like, okay, let me just tone it down a bit, and then, we hooked up together. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for that opportunity. I really appreciate
Oh, you're
that.
welcome. No, thank
So,
you.
so if you don't mind me asking, what separate me from the rest? Because you had conversations with other agents as well,
Hmm.
and then you gave me that opportunity to have a prolonged conversation. You share with me some of your goals, your objectives, and especially being on the market with another agent for 6 months.
Hmm.
What was the separation besides, just being very understanding and listening to your goals and objectives?
Well,
What
you
else
you just
was the
answered the
main
question.
factor?
You were understanding. You were patient. You were consistent. You weren't pushing me. And when I said there were certain things that I wanted, like I really didn't want,
hmm
COVID hadn't hit us yet, but I didn't want a whole bunch of people in my house doing, what do you call those walkthroughs when open houses? I didn't want that, but
hmm
you were nice enough and understanding enough to understand that I wanted to have appointments and let people come over, at a certain period of time and let them
Yes.
look or whatever. So you were very understanding about that and weren't pushy at all. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. Absolutely, my
Mhm.
pleasure. So I do remember that conversation, and I did ask you what you didn't like about the previous agent, right? And what you were expecting from the next agent you
Mhm.
were going to choose.
Mhm.
And you wanted private showings. You wanted qualified buyers coming
Yeah.
into the property. So I
Mhm.
made a note of that and make sure that when we met, I was going to have a plan to make that happen. So
Mhm.
thank you for sharing. Definitely, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is good.
Mhm.
Now, did you do any research prior our meeting? Did you Google, or was just you make the decision based on our conversation and our initial meeting?
Well, both. I Googled you, and
Mhm.
I also, like I said, talking to you was, people you just kind of, I don't know, grow towards that kind of thing. So, or gravitate towards, I should
Mhm.
say that. And I
Yeah,
gravitated towards you, and it seemed like you gravitated towards me. So, we really
I
got
did.
along. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we
So,
connected, right?
yes, definitely, definitely.
So you did find this when we spoke over the phone. You wanted to meet with me, and then when we met physically at the house, I remember your ex was there as well,
Hmm.
and he wasn't much in agreement with hiring me for the job. But
Right,
at the end of the day, he made the right decision, and he chose me for the job of selling the home.
right.
I know there was another agent also knocking on your door, I
Hmm.
believe at that time, that
Hmm.
wanted to get the property on the
Oh yeah,
market. So I
oh
thank you
yeah.
very much for the opportunity.
He was being really pushy too. I mean, like really pushy. I was like, no, I don't like that. Don't push me, And I got to tell you, this is, I probably didn't tell you this before, but you sold that house so quick. I almost got mad at you because I wanted to stay there a little bit longer.
Well, I got hired for that, right?
Like, you so fast. Oh
Thank you,
my God,
Mrs.
it's
Jones.
already in contract. Oh my God, I want to stay a little longer. But anyway,
Are you serious?
yeah.
Right? Yeah, I remember we had a little bit of challenge because we won the contract and then closing was right around the corner
Hmm.
and we were not ready to close, right? So we had to speed things up at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about the experience, the whole experience. For example, when we listed the property until we went to closing, what was the
Hmm.
experience like throughout the process?
I mean, it was easy. It was one of the things that I liked was the fact that you had already known a real estate attorney, which was good. Even though I had my divorce attorney, he was involved also, but you already had a real estate attorney that you knew and that you trusted and was like, okay, I trust you. So that kind of said to trust him also. So that was a good thing.
Yes.
But I
Mhm.
mean, it was harrowing because, I'm going through the divorce. It hadn't been, was it final? It was final, but it hadn't been final,
Mhm.
for that long amount of time. So it was
Mhm.
harrowing, but you didn't make it hard at all. You were very understanding, very patient. I mean, I almost looked at you like family because you were being really understanding about the whole situation. And I don't share a lot of stuff with people, but, I shared some stuff with you. So it turned out good. It was
Yes.
a good experience.
And thank you for your trust. And yes, we became like family, right? We
Yeah.
became like friends. We're in touch
Yeah.
very often.
Yes.
You were very kind to send me some referrals,
Yeah.
right, of
Yeah.
your friends that
Mhm.
were looking to make the same
Mhm.
transition in their lives. Because at the end of the day, selling a home is selling a home, but there's
Mhm.
something underneath that is important for the seller.
Mhm.
My job, my responsibility is to understand those needs and be able to help them out in this difficult transition that
And you did
sometimes is.
because yeah, it can be very difficult. Yeah, but you were very good
Yeah.
at it. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mrs.
Yeah.
Jones.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, would you recommend my services to other families that are going through the same process, whether it's a divorce, probate? Because I remember the family that you recommended was
Mhm.
going through probate process at that
Mhm.
time. In your case, it was an expired listing that was listed with another agent for six
Mhm.
months, and they couldn't get the job done.
Mhm.
Would you recommend my services to other families here in Queens, Brooklyn, or Long Island?
Absolutely. No question about it. They just have to be aware because you really do things quickly. You get on the ball, and you do things quickly. You don't drag things out. And, you helped out a lot. You gave me a lot of information. There was a lot of stuff I didn't know because buying a house is different than selling a house. So there are different
Yeah.
things that you need to understand about that are different selling and buying,
Mm.
So yeah, I thought I had to do a lot of the work
Yeah.
myself, like go look at the title and do this, that, and the other. I didn't have to do any of that stuff because you explained
Yeah.
that's not what I need to do. It's not my job. I'm like, oh God, now I have to go through all of this stuff. But you were like, no, 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 we do that. We handle that. Don't worry about that stuff. There's a lot of stuff I didn't
You
have
know
to
what you
worry
need to
about.
do?
What's
You
that?
gotta start packing as a seller. You gotta start
Yeah,
packing.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
thank you
was
very
very
much.
anxious. It was a very anxious time. I was filled with anxiety at that time. So it was, I was very anxious, but you
Yeah.
calmed me down. So that was good.
And that was my responsibility. So again, Mrs. Jones, I want to say thank you for all the kind words. Thank you for this beautiful testimonial. I know this is going to help a lot of sellers also make decisions in terms of who to hire, whether it's me, somebody else.
Hmm.
They have to do their homework.
Oh, yeah,
They
no
have to
question.
have that initial conversation, interview a couple of agents so they are sure 100% that
Hmm.
they're choosing the right agent for the job.
Yeah, because I interviewed, I don't know how many he did, but I interviewed at least one, two, three, four in person, five in person. And then, like I said, there
Wow.
was so many phone calls. I mean, like right after the other, right
Yeah, I
after the
can
other. And they were
imagine.
annoying, you know? And you were like, I don't know,
Mhm.
maybe like, I don't know, almost at the end of those phone calls. And I was like, oh God, here we go, another one, you know?
Another one.
You know, you know,
You're
I
number 55.
I don't want to speak to anybody else, but it was good. It was good. Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs.
Hmm.
Johns. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
You're
Any
welcome.
last words for the sellers here in Queens, Brooklyn, or Long Island?
I think that they should, if you call them or when you call them, they should listen to you, at least give you a chance, and they should definitely meet you in person to see what kind of person you are and to see that, what I mean, of course you want to sell because then look, you got to feed your family too. But to me,
Mhm.
it wasn't like you were just interested in, okay, let me sell this, let me do this real quickly, and blah blah blah. I mean, you even came over and tried and helped me with the yard, that kind of thing. So I was like, wow. But, they should definitely give you a chance because you're just that kind of person. It's not all about the sell, it's about the sell and the seller. So they should understand
Mhm.
that you have their best interests at heart and it's not just about your interests. So, and I think you got me off of one of those lists that were like, I don't know if it was expired or, if it was hard to sell. I don't know
Expires.
what kind of, yeah,
Mhm.
which was great. So yeah, that turned out well. Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Okay.
Bye,
All
Karina.
right. Take
Bye.
care. Okay.